Rebel News exclusive, we just caught the Privy Council Office deleting convoy documents tied to the illegal Emergencies Act invocation. Only in Ottawa could freezing bank accounts, jailing peaceful protesters, and illegally invoking a wartime law be dismissed as a transitory event. But here we are. While Canadians are still fighting in court, the federal bureaucracy was quietly deleting key records tied to the peaceful Freedom Convoy protest of 2022. And the government admitted it to us in writing. You're not going to believe the latest excuse coming out of Ottawa. So the Privy Council Office, the Prime Minister's own central bureaucracy, now claims that their documents tied to the Emergencies Act invocation were, quote, transitory. Now that's their explanation for why records tied to the first ever use of that wartime law against peaceful Canadian citizens have just completely disappeared. Deleted. Did you know that? The federal bureaucracy is literally wiping convoy records while criminal and civil cases are still winding their way through the courts. And they admitted this to us in writing while we were in the middle of appealing several redactions of those same documents. I wish I was making this stuff up. You see, the document we were appealing was submitted as evidence to the Public Order Emergency Commission. This isn't a stray email or an administration memo. It's an official ministerial update containing a situation report from then RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki. It was her assessment of the convoy, her updates to cabinet, her view of the operational reality, her communications loop with federal bureaucrats. All of that, plus the federal government's contacts with big tech, is inside this briefing, which is why vast chunks of it are drowned in black ink. Pages 2 and 3 of it, completely obliterated. But the censors missed one line, and it's a doozy. It says, the PCO did another check-in with Facebook, Google, Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, and Microsoft. All were asked what they were doing about hateful content and encouraged to remove the worst of it quickly. That's a ministerial update from February 1st, 2022. It's a convoy record where we can see the Prime Minister's chief bureaucrats just out there censoring Canadians. And it tells us a lot. It says there were communications. There are records with multiple big tech platforms. There was targeted communication, and we wanted to see it. And now the underlying documents are gone. They're dismissed as transitory. When federal bureaucrats call a document transitory, they're using a loophole, a classification that lets them legally destroy records they claim have no business value. So in government speak, a transitory record is a note or something they consider temporary, something they say isn't important enough to archive. These are important records, but I mean, I guess if that's the excuse they're using, a record they can dispose of without keeping a copy, a paper trail they can legally shred the moment they decide it's no longer needed. So in other words, it's a built-in excuse to delete things that might later make them look bad. It's meant for things like post-it notes, draft notes, reminders, not for documents tied to invoking the Emergencies Act illegally for the first time ever on peaceful Canadian citizens. So when the PCO calls convoy records transitory, what they're really saying is these records don't matter, they weren't worth preserving, and that they've already been deleted. The PCO told the Information Commissioner dealing with our appeal that the staff who handled all of this have moved on, so they don't know where to look. And that even if the records ever existed, they were too minor to save, just a little clerical nothing burger, nothing to see here, except there was something to see, which is precisely why they buried it. So let's stop pretending we don't know why this happened. Of course they're deleting those evidentiary records. The federal court ruled the government's use of the Emergencies Act illegal, a charter violating overreach dressed up as public safety and policing. So what could those missing PCO documents show us? That the intelligence didn't justify an emergency, that police leadership, including Brenda Lucki, didn't ask for it, that the government was leaning on Silicon Valley to police Canadians' free speech, that this was all political from day one. We'll never entirely know because the evidence evaporated right on schedule, not by accident, not because some staffer retired. Not because the files just went missing or weren't important. This is a government caught breaking the law. Now they're erasing the trail before anyone can follow it. If this was all truly transitory and thus insignificant, then convoy leaders Tamara Leach and Chris Barber should be getting a handwritten apology note from the Prime Minister for the hell that they've been subject to. But they won't. They're getting sentences because the only thing transitory in Ottawa is accountability, and the people wiping the records know exactly what they're doing. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunreid. We were able to make this discovery about the PCO deleting convoy records thanks to your ongoing donations to a special access filing website, rebelinvestigates.com. Thank you to all who make this important behind-the-scenes work possible.